Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am creating a portrait of someone who has inspired millions across the world, Sadhguru Shri Jakki Vasudev. Before I begin talking about the inspiration behind this artwork, let me walk you through how I created this portrait. For this drawing, I used combination of charcoal powder, carbon pencils, white acrylic paint, black ink gel pen and memory fine liners. Each of these materials played very important role in bringing out the depth and characters of the portrait. I started with a basic outline using light carbon pencil. Getting the proportions right is always the most important step, especially for a face as expressive as Sadhguru's. His eyes, his beard, and the folds in his turban, everything carries a lot of personality. Once the outline was ready, I began shading using charcoal powder. Charcoal helps create those deep, rich shadows and smooth gradients that make a portrait look realistic. I used blending techniques to give softness to the skin and depth to the facial features. Then I moved on to the carbon pencils to refine the details. Each detail, counts when you are drawing a portrait. These pencils are great for adding sharpness, especially around the eyes, eyebrows, and the facial contours. You must use carbon pencils. The eyes are always the most important part of the portrait because they bring life into the artwork. Now, one of the most interesting part was drawing the beard. Sadhguru's beard has a very unique texture and flow. To achieve that, I used the white acrylic paint along with memory fine liners. Instead of just drawing it with the pencils, the acrylic paint helped me creating highlights and a realistic hair texture. For the turban design, I used a black ink gel pen. This helped me add intricate patterns and fine details with precision. The contrast of ink against the shaded background really enhances the overall look you can see in the portrait. Now let me talk about what inspired me to literally draw Sadhguru's portrait. Sadhguru is not just a spiritual leader. He is someone who explains life in a very simple yet powerful way. His thoughts on inner peace, clarity, and understanding oneself are truly impactful. What personally inspired me is his calm presence and the depth in his expressions. When you look at his face, there is a sense of wisdom, stillness, and strength. And as an artist, capturing such emotions is always a challenge. And that's exactly what motivated me to draw this portrait. I wanted this artwork to not just look like him, but also to reflect a part of his personality. Now, coming back to the drawing process, after completing the base shading and major details, I focused again on enhancing the highlights. For the beard, I carefully used the white acrylic color to build layers. Instead of applying it all at once, I gradually added strokes to create a natural hair like effect. This layering techniques makes the beard look more realistic and three-dimensional also. Each hair is drawn and again drawing above it, drawing again, drawing again. It creates a really nice and realistic look. Then I use the memory pen, which are also known as the fine liners, to add finer strands and details over the white beard. This combination of acrylic and fine liners helps in achieving both softness and sharpness at the same time. Next, I worked on the shawl design. Sadhguru's shawl has often subtle patterns. Using the same white acrylic paint, I created delicate flowers designs on the shawl. The small details might not be very noticeable from a distance, but they add a lot of richness to the portrait. You can see how they are looking. I again used the same memory pens to refine the edges of the design and give it a clean finish. As the final step, I went back to the entire portrait and made small adjustments, deepening some shadows, enhancing highlights, and making sure that everything looks balanced and as it should look. Art is, never really about perfection, it's about expression. And with this portrait, I tried my best to express not just the physical features but also a sense of Sadhguru's presence. I hope you people enjoyed watching this process as much as I enjoyed creating it. And if you did, then please don't forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And let me know in the comments who should I draw next. Thanks for watching. Keep liking and watching. Thank you. Bye.